Hi everyone, welcome to channel Automation. In this series, we are learning about different concepts of AI testing used for QA and SDETs. In our previous sessions, we have understood what is AI, what is tokenization, how token works, what is token consumption, what is LLM, and just high level overview of use cases where QA can be use AI tools. In today's session, we will focus on AI prompting techniques. So first, we have already understood what is prompt. Whatever AI tools we are using, one thing remains common across all the AI tool is prompt. Prompt is basically instruction. Whatever task you want to achieve by using artificial intelligence tools, you have to give some instruction to AI model to give you the output. That is called as a prompt. Prompt is nothing but command, or we can say instructions which we have to provide to large language models to perform certain tasks. Prompts quality defines what output AI will provide to you. AI has its own data. So whenever we provide any command, AI acts accordingly to that prompt which we have provided. So if you provide short prompts, it will often produce generic answers. So AI will use its training data and it will provide you generic answers. If you provide specific prompts with some context, relevance, structure, and coverage, then it will improve the quality of output. For QA work, it is very important to give good prompts to reduce manual formatting effort. One simple example of difference between bad and good prompt: if you provide generate test cases, a single line prompt, it will provide you result in the form of very generic test cases. But if you guide correctly by using generate 10 positive and 10 negative login test cases for a banking application and provide output in table format, if you provide your prompt like this, it will give you more refined output according to your requirements. So that is called as a prompt. Now there are multiple techniques, multiple ways are there which can be used to create prompts which are giving you the desired output which we want. AI will answer to any prompt. Even if we provide generic prompt, it will also give you the answer. But we should make sure that when we are providing the prompt, it should be of good quality. The better the prompt, the better output AI will provide. So that's why it is very important to understand these prompting techniques. Why it is important? Because AI model is same. So if you are using prompt 1 or prompt 2, model is going to be the same, but the output it will produce, that will be different for both the prompts. If you provide the prompt like this, generate login test cases, it will give you some generic list of test cases for login. But if you give you some more details, for example, act as a senior engineer, generate positive, negative boundary cases for login functionality, and output should be in table format. Now it is called as a better prompt than the previous one because it gives personification to AI. So it tells the AI to act as a senior QA engineer. It also provides the context, what type of cases I want. It also provides the login functionality, context, and output in the format in which I want the output. So if you provide the low details, it will generate generic coverage with little structure and more rework. But if you provide detailed context, it will give you better categories, clearer scope, and cleaner output. We will see some practical examples as well, but just first understand the concept of different prompt techniques. What are the various techniques by which we can create a good prompt? So if you understand, these are the things which we have to provide in the prompt. So whenever whatever task you are going to do, make sure you always provide these things in your prompt. First thing is role. It's always better to provide the role in the prompt, who the AI should behave like. Now AI is very vast, LLM is very vast. If you guide it to perform the task like specific role, it will give you better output. So if you want to perform some senior QA engineer related task, always mention to AI that he is acting as senior QA engineer. Provide the role of senior QA engineer. Then comes the task. What exactly needs to be done? Whether you have to generate API test cases, or let's say automation test script, or performance testing, or any kind of a documentation if you want to generate, that comes under the task. Task means what output, what task you want that AI should perform for you. That comes under the task. Then provide the context. Now, even the AI has its own training data, but it will not have your context of your project. That's why very important to provide additional context to AI. If there is specific feature, API data, or any specific domain, that things we have to provide into the prompt as a context. Then comes constraints. Constraints means some kind of a rules, limits, must have cases, or edge conditions. It's always better to provide the constraints. For example, if you need a login test cases, in the prompt we should mention that I want positive as well as negative test cases. And at the last, output format. Once you give the prompt, it will generate the output. But sometimes we need output in some specific format. Let's say table format, bullets format, JSON format, any type of document format that we have to mention in the prompt. So it's a good practice to add what type of output format which we want from the AI. So these are the 5 important things we should always remember while generating any prompt which we provide it to AI. It is a role, task, context, constraints, and output format. So always remember this single formula, especially if you are working in QA or development domain. Always provide the role, task, context, and output format. Use this as your default skeleton. Then add constraints such as boundary cases, security checks, and tools for frameworks. Now, there are certain patterns or techniques are there to develop any prompt. Now, first one is role-based prompting. I will show you the practical examples as well, but just understand the concept first. Role-based prompting. As I said earlier, why it works? So whenever you assign any role, so instead of just writing generating test cases, saying the AI tool to generate the test cases, if you say like this, act as a senior QA engineer with 10 years of experience and then generate the test cases, what difference it will make? Role assignment will nudges the AI toward depth, structure, and domain language. It will know, AI will know that it has to act like a senior QA engineer with 10 years of experience. So that maturity will be coming into the output generated by AI as well, especially for test designing, reviews, bug analysis, and even automation suggestion. It's a good practice to provide role into the prompt. We can perform different roles like QA lead, QA manager, product owner, performance tester, security tester, or software development engineer in test, that is SDET. So depending on your requirement, we have to provide the role inside the prompt. That is called as a role based prompting. Also, we can provide context, output examples, and reasoning. So, as I said earlier, we can provide additional context. For example, generating test cases for feature details, for example, user login, what fields will be there, email, password, or any additional rules. For example, password needs to be a 8 characters. This is called as a additional context which we are providing inside the prompt. It will improve the quality of output. We can also ask for specific output formatting. For example, if you want test cases columns like this, test case ID, scenario, steps, expected result, and priority, that also we can provide inside the prompt. Few shot prompting, this is also one of the type of prompting. So there is zero shot prompting. Zero shot prompting means you just provide a single line without any example, without any context, without any role. If you simply say generate test cases, that will be called as a zero shot prompting. If you provide some context, it will be called as a one shot prompting. And if you provide multiple examples, that will be called as a few shot prompting. So if you provide such example inside the prompt, for example, invalid password, error message, this is a format. Scenario is invalid password, expected is error message. That will be called as a few shot prompting by providing 2 3 additional example inside the prompt. Another type is chain of thought. Inside our prompt, we can mention chain of thought. We can ask AI step by step thinking process, like first analyze the requirements, then identify the risk, then generate scenarios, and after that generate test cases. So these are basically one by one steps which can be added into the prompt. It is called as a chain of thought. So these are some basic prompting techniques. Persona prompting, it is similar to role, asking the AI to act as a senior QA or security tester or performance engineer or product owner. So depending on the role, the output will also change. Now some of the use cases where prompts are used. Now we have understood what are the prompts, what are the prompt techniques, and what are the areas where prompts can be used. Some of the examples I will just show you. Let's say you want to design a functional test cases. We can use the prompt like this: act as a senior QA engineer, generate positive, negative, boundary, security test cases for login functionality. It will give you all the test cases for these specific functionalities. We can also use the prompts for generating API test cases. You can provide the details of your API contract and it will generate all the test cases of API as per the requirements. For a test data creation also we can use AI. Whenever it comes to automation and coding, there also AI can be used. So we can generate different type of SQL queries by using AI, by using prompt. We can simply generate SQL queries to validate customer registration data or any type of example we can use. For generating frameworks, whether it's a Java, Playwright, Cypress, any type of automation tool framework or script can be generated by using prompts. For automation engineers, prompt can also be helpful for framework design, BOM structure, API framework, even CI/CD pipelines and GitHub Actions examples as well. For bug reports, requirement analysis, for simplifying the requirement document, Jira story review, we can also use prompts. So these are the simple high level prompts which we can use for bug report, Jira ticket creation, requirement analysis, etc. So this is high level concept and areas where quality assurance engineer and SDET engineers can use different prompts in their day to day work. Now, what are the common prompt mistakes? We have already discussed in our previous session as well. Do not use very vague explanation of prompt. Don't use generate test cases. It is very generic in nature. Whenever we are using a prompts, make sure that it has role, context, constraints, output format, and all the required details. Not providing the proper context will not give you the proper output. Always make sure you enter the expected output format. Do not provide the huge input but without any instruction. Always try to provide the proper instructions, and do not expect perfection as well, because at the end it's a artificial intelligence. It can provide the output which may or may not be the 100% perfect. It needs some refinement. It always requires some review to make it work and to make it perfect. So never expect 100% perfect output from the AI, but try to make sure after using day to day your prompt quality should improve. The more you use the AI prompting, the better you become with it. So these are some high level example. Zero shot prompting, one shot prompting by giving some example, few shot prompting includes 3 to 5 examples, and chain of thought in which we have to provide step by step actions inside the prompt. So now let's see some practical sessions of this prompting techniques. Now let me just open one document which includes some of the sample prompts. These are again very sample prompts, example prompts, which will help us to understand the different type of output which we get from zero shot, one shot, few shot, and role based prompting. Now first let's see a simple example of zero shot prompting. So I will just copy this prompt. It is very generic in nature. It is just generate test cases for login functionality. I will just provide this prompt to AI and let's see the output. I have provided this zero shot prompt without any additional details and context. It has created the test cases. It has test cases ID, test scenario, test steps, and expected result. So it has provided the generic number of test cases, which includes functionality test cases, boundary and validation generic test cases, security test cases, forgot password related test cases, remember me functionality test cases. Now understand, we may or may not have this functionality in our project, but for AI, since we have provided zero shot prompt, we have provided a zero shot prompt of generate test cases. It will not know what type of feature we have in our own product. So it will give me the test cases which are very generic in nature depending on its own training data. So it knows what are the very generic test cases. That test cases will be provided by AI. Forgot password related, remember me functionality, user experience test cases, session management test cases, accessibility test cases, API login test cases. So these are a set 60 test cases which covers these specific modules are provided by AI. Now it was not having any direction or additional context. So some of those test cases might not be useful for me, because let's say I don't have remember me functionality. In that case, those test cases are not relevant for me, right? So this is how the zero shot prompting works. It will give you the output. Now this output is correct, output is not wrong, but you will need some refinement, you will need some additional review of these test cases, because these are very generic in nature. That is a simple example of zero shot prompt, where we have just provided the prompt without any context, role, output format, etc. Now for the same example, let's see, I want one shot prompt. So let's use one shot prompt. Now in one shot prompt, I will mention that generate login test cases. I will give you the test case format as well. For example, let's say I want test case ID to be in this format. Let's say I'm just changing the format. Let's say I want the test cases format inside like this, TC number, or let's say TC underscore ID underscore 001. I want test cases for this. I'm also giving the example that it should have scenario like invalid password, and expected result should be in this format. And I'm just asking generate 10 more test cases in the same format. Now I'm just giving some rules, I'm just giving examples as well. That is called as a one shot prompt. So now let me provide this prompt and let's see the output. So inside the chat GPT, I will just provide one shot prompt by giving specific example of test case ID, scenario, expected result, and asking to generate 10 more test cases in the same format. So let's give this one shot prompt. So it will think and it will generate the output. If you see, now previously it created the generic output in this format. But now since I have asked specifically test case ID should be like this, so it has provided the test case ID like this. It has provided a scenario, also the expected result format. And it has created exactly 10 test cases. If you see, all the 10 cases created by using this format. 10 to 12 cases got created. So this is called one shot prompting, where we provide some examples, the format which we want, for example test case ID format, and count of test cases. It did not generate 50 test cases this time, because I had asked to generate 10 more test cases. So that is called as a one shot prompting. Now similarly, more advanced version, that is called as a few shot prompting. Sometimes inside the prompt, providing a single example is not enough. You might have some different scenarios in your project, you might have feature which has some additional examples, that also we can provide inside the prompt. So I'm just providing the example of invalid password, another example of empty username, I'm saying expected result, third example in the inside this format, scenario of locked user account, and expected result. And this time I'm asking to generate 20 additional login test cases in the same format. Now let me just copy this prompt. This is called as a few shot prompt. So let me just give this prompt to AI. So I'm just giving these few short prompts with additional examples and ask to generate 20 more test cases. So now if you see, test case ID is generated, scenario is generated, expected result generated, invalid username, empty password, both password username password empty, username with leading space, trailing space, password with incorrect case. So it has focused on that area and it has generated in the specific format, and it has given me around 20 to 25 test cases. If you see, 24 test cases, because I had asked around 20 test cases, so it provided around 20 only. So this is the example of few shot prompting, in which we can also provide some 3 to 5 examples as well. Now the examples of role based prompting. Now so far we have provided one shot, zero shot, few shots. But now let's add role as well. So I'm just asking it, like as a senior QA engineer with 10 years of experience in banking applications, I'm giving a specific role of QA engineer who has worked 10 years in banking application. I'm also providing positive scenarios, negative scenarios, and boundary value scenarios. And I am also providing output format. Now in this prompt, I am providing output format. Which format I want? Test case ID, scenario, expected result, and priority as well. Now after providing this prompt, now you will see the output, which is more better than the previous prompts, and it will be more focused on this prompt. Just like a QA engineer of 10 years experience will write the test cases. So let's provide that prompt. So this is a prompt I am providing. Let's see the output. If you see, it has given me the priority, expected result, TCID column, scenario column. And it has provided all the positive, negative, and edge cases as well. And it is giving me the test cases of more specific domain of banking application. It included OTP, credentials, valid invalid password, locked account, inactive account scenario, disabled account scenario, exceeding maximum failed and login attempts, which are very specific to banking applications, expired password functionality. Even it has provided me SQL injection vulnerability related test cases as well, because I have specifically asked that he is a think like a QA engineer of 10 years experience in banking domain. In banking domain, vulnerability becomes very important. So that's why it is giving me the test cases around security area as well. Username length, password length, username containing leading spaces. So it has provided me multiple test cases of all the different captcha related scenario. Now previous prompts will not give me the output like this. Captcha etc. will not be present in my previous outputs, which are generated by zero shot prompting. So it will be more focused, it will be more specific. And if you see, it has also provided banking specific high risk scenarios. Total 60 test cases provided. And the level of coverage is typically expected for a banking applications login module, including security, authentication, session management, OTP, and multi-factor authentication. So that is the benefit of giving the role inside our prompt. So that is called as a role based prompting. Now one more example. Let's say I will just provide another role. So far we have provided banking role. Now let me provide performance engineer. So I will tell the AI to act as a performance engineer and analyze the login functionality and suggest performance test scenarios. Now in the same thing, I will just copy it. I am just changing the person type. Initially it was QA engineer, but now I am asking it to act as a performance engineer. And let's see what type of test cases it provides. Now I am asking AI to act as a performance engineer. Now if you see, it has generated the test cases which are more focused on performance testing. It is giving me the test cases of 100 concurrent users login, 500 users login, 1000 plus concurrent users login. So it is focusing more on performance testing. Why it is focusing on more on performance testing test cases? Because in the prompt I have mentioned that to act as a performance tester. So these are basically performance testing related scenarios. So it is also giving me additional performance metrics to monitor. So this is how we can utilize the AI tools, AI prompts, by giving additional context of role as well. It will provide you all the required details, all the types of performance testing types as well. That is the example of adding different type of roles inside the prompt. And the last example is chain of thought prompting. Now chain of thought prompting means in the prompt only we will provide some steps. I am just asking the AI to act as a senior QA engineer What is the feature user login? Now, let's say user login of travel booking app. This time I'm just asking it as a travel booking app. What are the steps I am asking it? Understand the feature. Step 2 is identify the possible risk. Step 3, identify positive scenarios. Step 4, identify negative scenarios. Step 5, identify boundary value scenarios. Step 6, generate detailed test cases and output, which should be in this format. So this is called as a chain of thought prompts. So I will just copy this entire prompt in which I have added step by step thinking process. Accordingly, AI will act on this. So let me just copy this prompt here. So this is a chain of thought prompts. Let's provide this prompt and let's see the output. Now if you see, it is thinking step by step. Understanding the feature. Step 1 is understanding the feature. User login for travel booking application. The login, so it has its own thinking. So it is thinking like this. Login functionality allows register users to authenticate and access features such as flight booking, hotel booking, and all the examples. It has its own assumptions. Then the step 2, possible risk. It has also provided what possible risks are there. Whether it's a security risk, authentication risk, session management related risk, data privacy, OTP failures, performance, and all other type of risk as well. Step 3, positive scenarios. It has provided me all the positive scenarios. Step 4, negative scenarios. Step 5, boundary value scenarios. And in the step 6, it is giving me the tabular format which I had asked. It provides all the test cases in the tabular format. So this is called as a chain of thought prompting. And at the end, it is giving me recommendation as well. So that is the example of chain of thought promptings. So I hope you have understood what are the differences it makes in various type of prompt techniques. So same AI model I am using. AI model is same, but output which we have received are different. And why they are different? Because we have used different prompting techniques. Zero shot prompting will give you the generic answers. One shot will give you better, but still not fully better. Few shot prompting will provide additional context in the examples and it will give you the output. If you provide the role inside the prompt, it is always a good practice to mention role as well. So if you add role of senior QA engineer, you can add role of performance engineer or security engineer depending on your requirement. So accordingly, the output will change. We have also now seen chain of thought prompting, where you can provide the different steps to provide the output. So these are all the examples and techniques of prompting. Now comes the question, what is the best prompt? Now again, there is no such thing as a best prompt, but this is a practice. So whatever we have discussed, we have always make sure that you always add role. Now I am just giving you the final prompt, which includes role based prompting, context prompting, chain of thought prompting, and output formatting. So all these things, if you are present in your prompt, then it is considered as a good prompt. So I'm just mentioning first role, act as a senior QA engineer with 10 years of banking domain experience. Then feature, that is user login. Then I am also providing the requirements, more context I am adding. Email is mandatory, password must be of 8 characters, account should be locked after 5 failed attempts, forgot password option is available. And then I am also adding step like think step by step, analyze the requirement, identify risk, generate positive scenarios, generate negative scenarios, generate boundary value scenarios, and give me the output in this table format. Now this is called as a good prompt because it contains all the information, role, context, output formatting, etc. So let's copy this and let's provide this as a prompt. So now it will generate a proper test cases for me. Step by step thinking, requirement analysis, risk analysis. If you see, it has provided me all the risk analysis. Step 3, 4, 5 to test scenarios and test cases. So all the test cases and test scenarios depending on my prompt it has provided me. Priority summary is also provided. So that is called as a good prompt. So these are some basic examples of different type of prompting techniques which we have to use in our day to day activities. So what we have understood so far, let's just quickly revise in one golden prompt template. So whenever you are creating any prompt, make sure to add a role inside it, what task you want, what is the context of your feature or your requirements, and what output format you want, whether you want table, JSON, bullets, or even we can mention what type of files output you want, CSV or doc format or PPT format. Also mention the constraints and rules, what should be the do's and don'ts for the AI. If your project has some specific constraints and rules, that also can be mentioned inside the prompt. Now for our QA domain, I have designed around 44 QA and SDET specific prompts inside one PDF. I will quickly go through those prompts. So what are those prompts about? So what are these 44 QA prompts which I have created for mostly QA and SDET related activities? Requirement and analysis. PRD simplifier prompt. So whenever we get any product requirement documentation from product person or developers, by giving a single prompt we can analyze all those requirements. So that is called as a PRD simplifier prompt. I will just go through inside those prompts as well. Some of the prompts I will show you. PRD simplifier prompt, user story deep analyzer prompt. So I have also generated user story deep analyzer prompt which will analyze the user story and it will give you the simplified output for better understanding. Similarly, there is a requirement gap detection prompt. So whenever we get any requirements, we go for the discussion. But for that discussion, we should have some points. That points can be analyzed and found in early stage whenever you are going through that document. So I have created one requirement gap detection prompt as well. If you are a product person, you can use prompts to generate acceptance criteria as well. That is called as the acceptance criteria generator prompt. There is a prompt for risk based testing prompt. For manual QS, if you want to generate test cases by requirements, I have also created one expert level test case generator prompt. For API test cases generator prompt and UI test cases generator prompt as well. Similarly, edge case discovery prompt is also there. So I will just show you all the prompts. Similarly, for defect and debugging and documentation purpose, we can use the prompts like Jira bug creator prompt, RCA analysis prompt, log analysis prompt, browser network analysis prompt, CI/CD failure prompts. We can also use prompt for testing strategy and validation. For example, exploratory testing charter prompt, DB validation prompt, security test ideas prompt, load testing plan prompt. For automation and SDET, whenever we are generating any automation script, whenever we are creating any test framework automation, there also we can use the various prompts and create the framework from the scratch. Whether it's a Selenium, Cypress, Playwright, or API automation, those prompts are also present inside one file that I will show you in some time. Automation troubleshooting and reviews for prompts, some basic DevOps and CI/CD related prompts, test data and specialized testing prompt, QA management and reporting related prompts can be also created, and some advanced architecture and enterprise testing related basic prompts as well. So all these prompts I have created inside one single PDF file. So I have created this QA prompt library. The main purpose of this QA prompt library is it is very ready to use. This file contains production ready QA SDET prompts based on the original prompt collection. Each prompt has been expanded with clear role framing. Whatever discussion we had, what the ideal prompt should look like, it should have role, context, output format, quality guardrails, and practical QA SDET deliverables. How to use this library or this documentation is basically copy the required prompt into the chat GPT, GitHub Copilot, Claude, or any other AI tool which you are using. You just have to replace the placeholder text. I will just show you. So some of the prompts I will just directly show you. How to use those? You just have to copy the prompt and use it in our system. For based results, you can also provide screenshots, API samples, payloads, error messages, schemas, test data, and links to relevant tickets or documentation related to your project. I have also added some global QA instructions for all the prompts. Now, whatever prompts present inside this document, these rules will be applied to all those prompts. I will just go through some of the examples. For example, PRD simplifier prompt. We receive product requirement document, then we have to go through that document, we have to understand the feature requirement, then write the scenarios and test cases. But first, understanding is very important. So I have created the prompt in which I am giving the context like you have to act as a senior QA analyst, product expert, and QA mentor. Your task is to read the provided PRD, product note. This is a prompt basically, user story document, clear and convert it into clear, testable, QA friendly explanation for junior testers, automation engineers, and developers. So we have to paste the PRD or requirement here. I have also added some additional context. This is also part of the prompt only. Analyze and explain the PRD under this section. So whatever output you will get, it will be in the format of executive summary, business objective, user workflow, and also I have also added some additional rules and context inside the specific sections as well. Functional requirements, non-functional requirement, dependencies, edge cases, risk, assumptions, missing requirements, backend validations, API impact, UI validation, security consideration, performance consideration. All these sections will be provided in the output, and then it will generate the following deliverables. It will create a requirement summary table, feature checklist, high risk areas, questions for product, BA or developer, and QA focus areas, suggested test type, automation opportunities, and output style also I have provided. So it will use clear heading, simple language, it will avoid unnecessary jargon, highlight the critical gaps and risk clearly. So this is basically one single prompt. If you see, if you want to use this prompt, what we have to do, you just have to copy this text. So from this PDF, we just have to copy this entire prompt and copy it and paste it in your AI tool, whatever AI tool you are using. So this is the first prompt. Apart from that, there are 43 other such prompts. For example, user story deep analyzer prompt. Now this prompt will give you deep analysis of user story, more depth, and it will be providing more detailed structure and practical for sprint planning. Similarly, there is a prompt for requirement gap detection prompt. So I have just provided one more prompt here which will analyze the requirement gaps. So whatever requirement you provide, it will analyze the requirement gaps and it will generate the output in this format. Top 10 product questions, top 10 developer questions, QA assumptions, etc. If you are a product person, I have also created one prompt to create acceptance criteria. So here I am asking it to act as a senior product QA and agile business analyst, and based on the feature description, it will accept this instruction and it will generate the output format in the form of feature summary, assumptions, acceptance criteria, negative criteria, non-functional acceptance criteria, open questions, definitions, etc. So it will generate the acceptance criteria in this format. Similarly, there is a prompt for risk based testing, which will generate risk based factors. Now, this is again one more important prompt, that is expert level test case generator prompt. So, I am just asking it to act as a senior QA engineer with 15 plus years of experience. I am asking it to read the requirements fully. You can paste your requirements here. Optional context. I am just giving this optional context, some instructions to the AI, and I am asking it to cover all these test categories, and output format should be present in this format. So it will provide the test cases inside this output format. It will give you feature understanding, scope, assumptions, and test cases inside this. I am mentioning that it should be CSV ready output with exact below columns. So once you use this form, it will give you the CSV file which contains all these columns. It will also follow these guidelines of priority, data requirements, automation recommendation, open questions. So this is very useful prompt for expert level test case generations. Similarly, there are prompts for API test cases generator as well. So if you have some project where you have to generate API related test cases, we can use this prompt also. You can modify a bit as well. You can put more context, more refinement as well. But these are very ready to use prompts. It will also generate CSV ready test case tables with these columns, and it will generate the output. UI test scenario generator prompt. Now this prompt is for UI test cases generation. You can provide optional context like page screen name, screenshot, device support, etc. It will give you the output in the form of UI feature summary and test cases in this CSV format. Similarly, there are multiple prompts: regression suite builder prompt, edge case discovery prompt, Jira bug creator prompt as well there, root cause analysis prompt. So this is the entire library of different type of prompts which QA and SDET people can use on their day-to-day activities. Log analysis prompt. Sometimes you have to analyze the logs for any issues. In that case, this prompt can act and perform the activities for you. It will give you the output and summary, RCA, etc. everything. Browser network analysis prompt, CI/CD failure analyzer prompt, exploratory testing chapter prompt. So these are different type of prompts I have added in this single PDF. Security test ideas prompt, and also for automation. So load testing plan prompt, also for automation as well. So if you are working as an automation tester, we have to generate and create some frameworks as well. So I have just created a automation framework generator prompt in which I am asking AI to act as principal SDET and automation framework architect. Then I am asking it to design a scalable, maintainable, production ready automation framework for the below project. You can put your project details, provide the additional context in this area, what type of tools, what type of application type is, environment, auth mechanism, all those project related details you can add here. I am also mentioning what type of design should be there, architecture overview, recommended tech stack, folder structure, what should be the folder structure, design patterns, core framework components. So all these things are added in the prompt, and it will give you the output. So once you give this prompt, it will generate the output for you. For Selenium framework prompt, for Cypress, and for Playwright as well. So it contains the prompt for framework creation of Cypress and Playwright as well. Apart from those, API automation framework prompt is also there. So if you want to create some API automation related framework, it can guide you with this prompt. So this contains all the required information of API automation prompt. Auto script generator prompt. So similarly, there are total 44 different type of prompts present inside this PDF. I hope this PDF will help you. So overall session, I hope you understood. So I'm just closing this. So this is basically a PDF file which I had generated. And now coming back to our session. So this all 44 QA and SDET related prompts, if you want, They are combined in one single PDF file. To get it, you can check the description of the video. Once I upload this video, you can simply see the description, which contains a link from where you can download this PDF file which contains all these 44 QA prompts. So that's about this session, guys. I hope you understood the AI prompting technique. So whatever you are using AI tools in your day-to-day activity, you can use this simple technique. So normally prompts are used by everyone. I am also using prompts, you are also using prompts, and rest of the folks are also using prompts. But just using prompts is not enough. Whatever prompts we use, they consume some tokens. So it's always better to use a perfect prompts. There is no 100% perfect prompts, but by using certain techniques, you can reduce the refining of various prompts. You can reduce the rework of prompting if you use the correct prompts, which contains role, which contains task, which contains context, requirements, constraints, output format, etc. So even if you follow this basic technique and this golden prompt template, it will give you all the required output to your project. So I hope you like this session. Thanks for watching this video. In the next session, we will see some more interesting topic of AI with the perspective of QAs and SDDs. So thanks again.